Okay, attempt 3. This is my third attempt doing this because I have mixed up like twice before. Okay, okay. On the island of Sodor, high up in the mountains, was a mysterious boulder. It had stood alone for a long time, but one day workmen arrived to build a quarry on the land below. One day, Rusty came out to the sheds. Peter, Sam, Louie, Oswald, and Sir Handel were already there. The thin controller pulled up in his car, followed behind by a huge red machine. Soon Thumper was working hard. The men were pleased, but nobody bothered to check the boulder. When it rained, the workmen went away. Rusty gazed up and shivered. Above stood the boulder. Suddenly, a large slab of rock landed on the rails, a few inches away from Rusty. He was shocked, and the driver was concerned. The next day, the sun shone. The quarry was filled with men and more machines. Thumper was working harder than ever. Too hard. He was working so hard that he shook violently. Then Rusty noticed something. But it could. It landed on the ground and it shook the whole quarry. Then Boulder moved towards Rusty. But the boulder was nowhere to be seen. Suddenly, just ahead, they saw a small junction. One line went uphill to the station, and the other went downhill to the old yards. Boulder thundered past. Louie was going to fetch some trucks from the quarry when he saw Boulder heading at lightning speed towards him. The pack were at work at the yards when suddenly Jack noticed. At that moment, Louie rushed in at the same time as Nelson was coming in with Alfie. Louie and the pack raced away from the boulder, but then Buster's wheels got stuck on the rails. Jack pushed Buster out of the way just in time. Then Boulder went through a patch of concrete and splattered Patrick. Louie found a siding and waited for Boulder to pass. He saw Nelson carrying Alfie on the road, driving fast. Ned was cheerfully chuffing along the road. Then Ned saw Nelson driving past at full speed, telling him to run. Then Ned saw the boulder behind, rolling towards him. Ned steered off the road, and Boulder just missed him. Louie rolled up to Rusty and the pack. Meanwhile, Scarloey was pushing 4 trucks to the boulder quarry. Then, Scarloey and the trucks saw the boulder. Boulder was catching up fast, but they raced into a siding. The boulder crushed the truck at the front. Then the trucks looked forward. Boulder rounded the corner, and there ahead was Rheneas. And his driver drove him back as fast as he could. At that moment, Rusty rushed past. At the station, Gordon and Oswald were there when the boulder raced past the station, which left the 2 engines in shock. Sir Handel and Duke were at the sheds when they felt a rumble in the ground. It was Boulder, and it was heading straight for them. Sir Handel pushed Duke out of the shed just in time. The boulder came to a stop at the demolished shed. The Think controller inspected the damage and looked at the boulder. Duke and Sir Handel looked at the destroyed shed. Then Duke said, "That night, Rusty, Louie, and Patrick were at the now closed quarry. The boulder had been moved back on the steep hill. The 2 machines rolled out of the quarry, but Rusty stood at the bottom of the steep hill, looking up at the boulder. Rusty was sure that on a clear night he was gazing up at the mountain, and that its sides are being carried on the wind, where it once used to stand, proud and silent. I wonder if Rusty is right. Don't you?" "Oh my goodness, what on earth was that?" "It might be Nelson coming in with Alfie. See, I told you." "Oh my!" My beautiful concrete! Is anyone going to get this concrete off me? Let's hope that rock will stay put at this time.